moving through life, we realize that we are essentially a thought machine that is operating constantly, all the time, and in a uncontrollable way, at least it is as we perceive it to occur. So, what I mean by this is if you pay attention to your mind, to what you're thinking, you understand that you have a bunch of thoughts that are flowing through your mind throughout the day, and almost every single one of them you cannot control. So it's just a thought process machine that doesn't stop to occur. And what if I told you that you can actually change all the thoughts that you're thinking? And what's the purpose of this? Well, it's actually very simple. The reason we perceive we humans as we are, in terms of how our own capacities, it's because we don't realize how much crap is being fed into us, into our minds, throughout our lives. And that information that I'm calling crap is essential information that doesn't provide you any value, doesn't add anything valuable to you nor to your life. What I mean by this is if you realize there's a bunch of information that you are constantly being fed out of the television or your mobile phone or reality itself, that if you ask, what is the benefit that I'm getting to my life or my career when I'm getting this information for myself, you end up realizing most of the information you're being fed daily doesn't provide any value. It actually provides something that distracts you from just focusing on what really matters. And this is why you don't understand your own capacity of creating your life exactly as you want your life to be. So, if we're constantly on a loop of information that doesn't matter, it means your mind is constantly on a loop of thoughts that don't matter. And this blocks you from creating life and creating your own reality as you want. Because the moment you start to focus on the dream life that you want to achieve, you realize that you just drop your focus and you're just thinking about something that is totally useless. And you can't control to lose control of your thoughts because your thoughts happen exactly by the information you're being provided. So, for you to change the situation, you have to filter the information that you're being provided, which means that everything that you're seeing in terms of information, you should always ask, what is the value that I'm getting to my life? Or is this actually providing something that will allow me to attain my dream life? If there's no benefit, you should immediately remove that information to come in. So, most people watch TV and they watch pretty much what goes in front of their face. Regardless of the programs that you like to see, you may even realize the programs you like don't really allow you to create a better life situation for you in any aspect. You're not having a better life. You're not really happy nor happier by getting a certain amount of information that you are consuming on a daily basis. You are not fulfilling yourself from the core. You're not feeling that your life is getting better in any way. So that information is actually useless. So what I did was to literally remove myself from the standardized television programs that most people are watching, because I realized none of that was actually helping me. And I started to feed myself in information that allowed me to create my dream life as I wanted. So I dig into the economic system, the monetary system, how people that are extremely rich made their money, how are people living their dream life, and what is their dream life for each person that speaks about the dream life they're living. And if you fed yourself only into this, with a long period of time, you'll understand that all your thoughts are focused on creating your dream life and creating a life in which you don't have to count money for the rest of your life, because you have enough information to understand the path for you to take to overcome the situation you are in. And at the same time, you create the dream life because all your thoughts are just focusing on the dream life you want to achieve. So daily basis, you understand your life's already changing and is exactly going alignment with the life that you want to have. So although this is a process that takes its time to occur, especially if you're not doing this from this moment and you're just starting, the good thing is on the long term it always pay off, because you can always achieve the dream life that you're trying to get. You just have to understand how you can actually do this. So I can give you a number of examples of things that we may think that we are binded and we are not. For example, most single people tend to not be okay on being single because society convinced you should always look to have a relationship and to be on a relationship, because you should always look for a companion and you depend on that for your life to be good, which is not true. This is simply not true. And I also believed on this till I understood that the information was just false. So let me explain. I actually went back in time to understand in which moments of my life I was happier. And it was actually after I ended the toughest relationships, because I realized that on those moments I was with a lot more freedom to actually allow myself to create my dream life. It was not anyone's fault, but the fact that I had so much more free time, I was able to step into the dream life that I wanted to achieve. That free time in which I used to spend with my girlfriend doing other things, I just focus on my business career and focus on creating the life that I dream about. And I just accelerated throughout the process to achieve exactly what I wanted to. And for example, I even realized that only by focusing on what really mattered for me to create the life that I wanted, I realized that I no longer was even thinking about being on a relationship on the first place. I wasn't even thinking about girls at all. So, why do men think about girls? or women think about men. The reason is simple. Throughout your daily life, someone around you, or your mobile phone, or your television, is just presenting you information about relationships that convince you you should look or depend on your good uh, health, mind health state to have or be on a relationship. And this is just false. The moment you stop to see this narrative or being fed of information like this, with a long time you realize it was false. Because today I may have someone asking me if I don't feel lonely to be on a to be single. And honestly, I don't even think about that because nothing on my daily life makes me think about it. And the truth is, my life today is better than ever. So this is just telling me that my life is actually amazing, exactly as it is. I don't need what I thought I really did. And again, it doesn't mean that you're not really looking to be on a relationship in the future. You may, but the good part is you will only allow someone to come as long as you both can create a better life for each one of you. Which means the relationships that don't work will automatically be removed because you don't need those in the first place. If you have the life of your dreams already, it means it's actually perfect as it is. And you start to realize that everything works the same way. Every thought we have about certain situations in life is just a creation that was implemented within us throughout society system, in which convinced you that you depend on something to be happy. Because if you detach yourself from the society narrative and from most people that believe in society structure in terms of conceptualize belief systems, you realize that you can make an amazing life actually by yourself. You really don't rely on anything or anyone to make your dream life. You don't need money to become rich because you realize most people or a lot of people actually came from poverty to actually go rich after. So all these narratives that were being fed are just false. And if you dig upon anything that you believe, you may find that actually that belief is false. The moment you deconstruct the reality in which you live and understand what really is truth or not, you understand that you're getting a step closer to take all the control to your life that you want. And the more control you have in your life, the better it becomes. Because life itself starts to be only around the things that truly make sense for you, truly make you happy, and you're no longer binded by what society thinks you should be, or how you should behave, or what you must do regardless of what you think you should. So, the creation of our own paradise, it's actually a self-creation by our own construct. It depends exclusively on us. All you have to do is to focus on the life that you want to achieve. And every person that will create their dream life will be different from one another. It's not like there's a dream life situation that is exactly the same for everyone. because all of us are actually different in a number of aspects. So, what makes sense for some may not make sense for others, and that's okay. It's almost the same as thinking about the concept between optimists and pessimists. When there's optimists thinking the world's a great place, pessimists think the opposite, and they both think they're right. And in fact, it's true for both, because optimists choose, choose to focus on the good aspects of life, and that becomes their reality. When pessimists choose to focus on the opposite, and that becomes their own reality. So, your reality is actually a construct that you made yourself. You just haven't realized that yet. But the moment you start to understand and you start to change everything around you by changing who you are and what you believe on, you understand that you can take complete control of your life. You can take complete control of everything. And this may be really tough to understand for most people because the trigger that most people go under to understand how everything really works, it tends to be a very impactful occurrence in your life. Something that happened to you that makes you question about everything you believed on. The moment you think that your friends and your family really care and love you forever and will always be there for you, if something happens to you and everyone turns back on you, or almost everyone, and you realize you were wrong of thinking that people were actually caring about you and loving you the way you love them, when you realize this, you question everything in your life. Every belief that you have is questioned. And when you understand that most things you thought were true, they were just false, it's the moment you start to wake up to a reality in which, regardless of your situation, you can take complete control of life. You can create the life of your dreams, no matter what circumstances you're in. Because it's not about living on the paradise island on vacations forever. This is a concept that just pleases most people. But realistically speaking, if you live like this all your life, at least for me, I can tell it's very boring. It's not my dream life, but it can be yours. But again, you can only understand how your dream life will be by starting to create it from the present moment, adding up on small changes one by one to make life as you want to be forever.